Hi, Mrs. A.
Hi, sweetheart. Ying Ying. Sorry.
Okay. So, I'm here to interview you about the Challenger explosion. And what do you remember about the Challenger's explosion?
I remember it vividly because I was living in Florida at the time, and being raised in Florida, which was the home of the space mission. It was always a source of pride, and we were very involved with any kind of space or exploration, anything that was going up. We felt like it was a part of our state. It was part of who we are. Cape Canaveral, I visited many times. So when I knew that this shuttle was going, the Challenger was going, everybody watched. Everybody was involved. Everybody was anticipating, especially knowing that there were so many civilians on the spacecraft. Uh, I remember everything about it from the beginning, when it started, when they were training, until the very end.
Okay. So, when the event happened, what were you doing at the time? Like,
Well, I was
how old were
actually,
you?
I remember it so clear because I was, what I remember so close, vividly about it was that I had just moved to Fort Lauderdale, and I was 21 years old, and was getting ready for an interview, a job interview, as working in a daycare center, and to teach preschool. So I was so excited to know that there was a teacher involved in the Challenger, and I was on my sofa because it was early, and my interview wasn't until the afternoon. So I was laying on my sofa watching the television, and at that time it was just not like the convenience that it is with the clickers. So it was just that channel was on, and I remember laying there watching it, the excitement of them counting down for it to launch, and it launched, and it builds up. It
Yeah.
builds up that excitement, and then just continuously watching that until you realize that there was something wrong.
Mhm. So, so when you did you see on the TV that it exploded?
hmm
It was on live.
It was on live. You watched. You weren't sure what you were watching. You were thinking at first. I was thinking that it was the separation, because there's a part where the craft separates from
The base.
the base. So we weren't sure. So we thought it was the separation, but it never looked like the separation that I normally would see. And I remember that four streaks of smoke, of fire, came from the hull. It was almost looked like a star, that it was the middle part, and these four smoke streams poured out. And I was confused by it, and I think so were the announcers, saying, "Oh, that's strange. I've never seen that before." So at this point, we didn't really know that anything was wrong. We just knew that it wasn't an ordinary launch.
Okay. So, why do you think what made the accident so shock to people? Like, why are people so? I feel like they're sometimes they overreact to the situation because. So, I was gonna ask, why did you think? Why do you think? What do you think that made this accident like so shocking to people at that time?
Well, once you realized that it was destroyed, once you realized this accident happened, and everyone was lost, I think the shock of it was that we saw it in our own eyes. There wasn't a question about it. There wasn't something that happened out of our frame of mind, something that was reported later. We watched it. We watched it explode. We watched all these people climb on board with such enthusiasm and with such hope, and you connected with them. You connected with them on the level of whether or not there was a teacher on board, or whether there was a an astronaut. There were you and it could have been you and me. Anyone could have been on that space shuttle, but with such hope and desire just to be able to help the rest of mankind, learn more about space exploration. So it was a selfless act. What they knew there were risks. All those people there on that shuttle knew that they were risks, but they took that anyway for us, without any compensation. And when people saw that selflessness and it was gone, it was so heartbreaking. So terribly heartbreaking, because you realize that in an instant, these people gave up their life for us. And we mourn that. We mourn that.
Yeah. So after, what do you think about the crew's sacrifice during the accident? Do you think do they know that there's a risk that they might, like, something might happen during the flight of to the space or whatever?
Yeah, absolutely. They all know. I mean, the preparation that they had to undergo to be able to go on this space shuttle was serious. So they realized that there was a chance. But I think it's like anyone, someone who's a selfless act and does and for humanity, they know that there's a risk, but they will do what they have to do because it's such a pure feeling.
So these crew members, they're all volunteers? Yeah. Okay. And do you have any more questions?
Well, there was a couple of astronauts who trained for it, and they trained professionally for it. But I mean, when you think of the average person willing to do that,
yeah, not a lot of people.
Not a lot of people. I mean, the school teacher. She had a family. I mean,
she's just a regular school teacher.
Yeah, and she had children, and she was married, and she went ahead and did it anyways.
Do you know why she got chosen? Is it
because she wanted? I don't know why she got chosen, but I know the reason why she wanted to go was to be able to bring back information to her students, to bring back information and be able to say, "Listen, I did this." Let me explain to you a little bit more about space exploration. I think you understand that when a teacher is able to teach you something that they've experienced that pertains to a certain curriculum, you respond more so to that. Because they've lived it, they've been there, they understand. Whereas when you're just reading it from a book or something that you get secondhand, this is someone who's done it.
Cool.
Yeah, right?
Okay. Did the accident change your opinion about space travel at all?
At the beginning it did. I said, we should stop. This is ridiculous. Look at the risks that are taken. But then again, you realize that without those risks, we wouldn't have learned so much about the moon, about planetary exploration. So I changed my mind afterwards and said, I think I reacted emotionally to that, and that's why I wanted it to stop. But then I realized for the good of all mankind, it had to keep going.
Okay. So I think that's it. Thank you, Mrs. Say.
Oh, my pleasure, Ying. Anytime, okay?
Okay.